Welcome everyone to another Chicago Bears fan show. I'm James. We're coming to you this week with a critical matchup upcoming against the Minnesota Vikings. It's part 2 of our 2-part series, if you will, this year against those Vikings. Of course, it was just a couple weeks ago that we beat the Vikings, but some things have changed since then. And here's one thing in common with these two teams. They're both coming off tough losses last week. Our beloved Bears took a tough one against a team that we'd hoped to beat at home, the Seahawks. Took us to overtime, and it was a difficult one, but some positive signs came out of it. Unfortunately, some negative things came out of it, and some injuries. And that's another thing that both these teams have. They both have premier players that have been recently declared out for the season. So let's look at the players that are going to be missing for both teams right now and their impact. I've got some really cool stuff to show you right now from advancednflstats.com, a great little site. And I want to show you right now what I'm talking about here in terms of the Vikings and their offense. One player that they're going to miss, and they missed him a couple weeks ago when we played them, and that's Percy Harvin. Even though Adrian Peterson has been absolutely a monster, he put up over 100 yards against us. Percy Harvin has actually produced a higher expected win value than Adrian Peterson has thus far this season. He's their ultimate playmaker. He's the X factor, and not having him is a big deal. It reduces the value that Christian Ponder can provide. It really reduces their entire receiving game, what they can do there, and it allows teams to bring more pressure around the line to devote to Adrian Peterson. It makes his job that much harder. Not that it stopped him. He put up over 100 yards against us. He put up a monstrous game against the Packers last week as well. And you know, at home on that turf, like they're going to be this week, he is dangerous. And I'm worried about him. I'll show you some stuff with the Bears now. We have lost some players as well. We've lost Brian Urlacher, unfortunately, our soon-to-be Hall of Fame middle linebacker. And we lost Tim Jennings. Now, if you look at the win values of these two players, the one that's actually provided more thus far is Tim Jennings, and he's the one I think that we are going to miss longer term. However, this week against the Vikings in particular, I actually think that it's not going to be a massive loss because of what I just said. Because the Vikings do not have a dangerous pass game. They do not have two good receivers, not to mention one good receiver right now who's healthy, that really scares teams. So losing Tim Jennings there is not a huge deal. I don't think when it comes to stopping the run, he's a vaunted tackler. Tillman on the other side is actually a better tackler. So we don't lose a lot in stopping Adrian Peterson by not having Tim Jennings there. We have Kelvin Hayden. He's an experienced veteran there. And while he's not very quick, I'm concerned about him long term there, I'm not extremely concerned in this game because, like I said, I just don't think that the Vikings have what it takes to take advantage of our situation there. Now, if you're curious about the Bears' offense and what we were getting from them lately, you know, when you look at the composition of it, there's really one player that's providing a ton of value for us, and that's Brandon Marshall. And it's a absolute shock that teams aren't doing more to stop him. Because he's the only one that's killing teams right now. Unfortunately, it looks like we're probably getting Alshon Jeffery back this week. If he continues to practice well and show well, I think we're going to get him back in the lineup. Hester is maybe a possibility. He has practiced as well this week. We're hopeful there. They both add dimensions to the pass game that we desperately miss. Alshon Jeffery probably the most as that viable threat on the outside that we really need to take pressure away from Marshall. And Hester adds a little bit of trick packages or screen type plays, which really helps take the pressure off the rush. And you know, with the skills that Mike Tice has been showing as an offensive coordinator lately at calling plays, I'm more and more positive about this offense and where it can go. Unfortunately, if you look at these stats again, the run game, Matt Forte, we've probably seen it with our own eyes that he hasn't looked good so far this year. And the fact is, he's providing negative win value right now for the Bears. So it really backs that up. He has been quite poor. I mean, the guy's averaging close to 3 yards a carry. It's not good. for him right now. He hasn't put up good performances lately, and he just looks very tentative running the ball behind the line. He doesn't seem to break anything long. I'm concerned about him, and I'm concerned continually into this game. So, anyways, he has a lot to prove there. I hope the Bears can get that on track, because they're going to need that down the stretch as well. But anyways, I am hopeful that this offense can do a lot. One of the reasons I'm hopeful is what the offensive line's been doing. But I'm going to talk more about that in my next video. We break down that matchup again against Jared Allen and the defensive line. Bear down.